Algebra II 3.7d, find equations of perpendicular lines. Now this is 3.7d. If you haven't seen 3.7a, b, or c, you're going to want to click on the description of this video and watch those first. We can write an equation of a line that contains a given point, as x and y, and is perpendicular to a given equation. First, we find the slope-intercept form of the given equation, and then we determine its slope and conclude the perpendicular line is going to have a slope that is the negative reciprocal of that first slope. Then we substitute the x and y values as x1 and y1 with the new negative reciprocal slope into the point slope form. We simplify and we have our equation of the perpendicular line. So let me show you. Here we have our given equation and our given point. And we can take this given equation and put it in slope-intercept form. See? It's going to look like this when we're finished. Y equals mx plus b. We have this coefficient here, and we need to get the y by itself. So what we're going to do is, because this is a minus x, we're going to add x to each side of the equation, create a zero pair here, and eliminate it. We have 4y equals x plus 20. Now remember, if there's no coefficient there, there's an invisible 1 there, okay? And that's going to help us when we divide each term by this 4 coefficient. The multiplication property of equality says that we can use division of this coefficient for each term. It's the same thing as multiplying each term by the reciprocal 1/4, okay? We could take this 4 and multiply each term by its reciprocal of 1/4, or we can just divide each term. And like I always say, because there's no fractions in here, it's easier to just divide, okay? That gives us a 1 here. We have 1y equals, and here our invisible 1 is going to help us, 1/4 x plus 5, because 20 divided by 4 is 5. Now we've got it in slope-intercept form. And that was our given equation, is now in slope-intercept form. Now we're going to use this slope 1/4 and our given point to help put it into point-slope form like this. The negative reciprocal for this 1/4 is a negative 4/1, which becomes a negative 4. So now we're going to use the negative 4 as the slope into the point-slope form with our points 2 and negative 3, okay, as x1, y1. We plug them into the point-slope form. Here's our y1, here's our x1, here's our new negative reciprocal slope, and we've got to change this to a positive 3, because when we subtract a negative, we add the opposite, so we're adding a 3, and we're going to distribute this negative 4 to the x and to the minus 2 here. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Now we can take this side right here to isolate the y and subtract or add a negative 3 to each side, or you can look at it as just subtracting 3 from each side, but that's the addition property of equality to isolate the y. And we remove this, we eliminate this by making a 0 pair, and on this side, 8 minus 3 is a 5. We end up with y equals negative 4x plus 5. That's the equation of our perpendicular line. So here's the first equation in slope-intercept form, and then here's our perpendicular equation, and you can see how it's got a negative reciprocal for its slope. See? 1/4 to negative 4. See? Let's try it again. We've got our given point and our given equation. So we're going to use the given point as the x1, y1 values. And look, our given equation is already in slope-intercept form. Okay? So the negative reciprocal of this slope is going to be a negative 8/7. We're going to spin it around and put a negative sign there. Okay? We're going to plug it into the point-slope form, and we're going to plug in the negative 1 and 2 as our x1, y1 values. And we're going to change this to a positive 1, because when you subtract a negative, you add the opposite. So now we're going to distribute this negative 8/7 into the parentheses, and we're going to get negative 8/7 x minus 8/7. When we multiply these, we get identity property says we get negative 8/7, don't we? Now we can use the addition property of equality to isolate this y, and that'll create a 0 pair here, and instead of using the whole number 2, I used the fraction 14 over 7, because that equals a 2, doesn't it? But that'll be easier for me to do my fraction up here, see? If I have a negative 8/7 and I want to add 14/7, that's easier than using the whole numbers, okay? That's going to give me a positive 6/7. So now my slope-intercept form of this equation of the perpendicular line is y equals negative 8/7 x plus 6/7. And I can take this negative 8/7 and this 7/8 and I can multiply them together. This is the given slope and this is our perpendicular equation slope. And if I multiply them together and they equal a -1, I know I did it correctly, okay? Because when you multiply the two slopes together, it should equal a -1. You multiply the given slope by the perpendicular slope, and it should equal a -1, okay? The slope of the perpendicular line is going to be the negative reciprocal of the slope in the given equation. So if m is the slope, our negative reciprocal is going to be a -1 over m, see? So here's what we did. For the equation of a perpendicular line, we put the given equation into slope-intercept form like this. We determine the given slope, the m. We find the negative reciprocal of that given slope. Then we substitute the values of the point, the x1, y1, into the point slope form with the negative reciprocal slope here. And we simplify it. We have our equation of the perpendicular line, okay? Our next video is going to be 3.7e, and we're going to discuss parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So if you look at the equation of the line, are you going to be able to tell if it makes parallel lines, perpendicular lines, or neither? I'm going to add this video to the Algebra II playlist so you can use it to study. And those links are going to be in this video's description, along with the graph and linear equations from Chapter 7 in Algebra 1 playlist. Okay? All right. So let's see if you can tell the difference between parallel, perpendicular, or if it makes neither. All right? I hope I'll see you there. Bye.